It certainly did. In order for us to succeed in a market that is dominated by two players, we knew that we had to create a product that was better than what existed in the market, a dazzling product that when people flew us, they would come back and fly us again. That was really the key. And my experience with the 190 at JetBlue is interesting because we started with the 320. Then we moved to the 190 as an additional fleet type. And then as we surveyed the customers flying on 190 and 320, the 190 scored consistently higher. So, obviously trip costs and cost of operation were important, but knowing that we could come in here into Brazil with a product that didn't have a middle seat, that had extra legroom, that had bigger windows, that had no bar between the two seats in front of you, and knowing that our customers in the United States preferred this product to the 320, and the JetBlue product on the 320 is pretty good, really good from legroom, and we could really make a difference by having a better product, and the 190 was really exactly what we wanted. Well, everyone wants to be comfortable. I don't care if you're Brazilian, I don't care if you're American. If you're a business traveler particularly, you know what it's like to fly 3 hours in very tight circumstances. And, certainly seat pitch is something that's controllable, and they've chosen here to give very, very tight seat pitch. But it's not just seat pitch. It's the width, it's the lack of the middle seat, it's every customer being able to have an aisle or a window, a bigger window. Overall, it is just a better experience. And so, it doesn't really matter where you are. Customers like to be comfortable. That's just kind of the name of the game. What's interesting, I think a couple things have changed. I think people have gotten bigger. Just if you look at the size of a person in 1950, when the fuselage of in the 1950s, when the fuselage of a 707 came out, it was made for people who were that size at that time. Well, we're 55 years beyond that now. And at least on the Boeing side, you've got 707, 727, 737, 757 all have the same circumference of fuselage with the same width of the seat, with the middle seat, with 3 and 3 seating. That hasn't changed. Now, the only thing that's changed is the seats have come closer to you, where Embraer had the ability to kind of design something, after the year 2000, to look at it and say, okay, people are bigger, they're a little wider, they want something a little bit different. They don't really like the middle seat. It's been kind of the worst seat on the airplane. And then they created something for a new generation as opposed to what was created back in the 1950s. There's no doubt that the passengers, the customers as we call them, are more informed. I mean, you can go on the internet quickly, you can see what aircraft type you're flying on. As you search the internet, you can look at their seats, sites like Seat Guru, where you can go see dimensions of seats and what seats better. And so one thing the internet brought us is information. And if you're used to traveling and you can say, wow, I just flew on that airplane, it was horrible, I don't want to fly on that airplane again, and you do a little bit of research on what planes are comfortable, what planes are not comfortable, and then you are building your schedule and you're selecting one airline to another airline, you can say, I'm going on a 3-hour flight, I'm not going on a 757 in this row, I would rather go on a 170 or a 190, and sit in any seat, and I'll be much more comfortable than that other seat. So, I think the internet has really given people information at their fingertips, and people who travel a lot, especially the ones that are road warriors, those are things they notice, and that you have certainly frequent flyer programs that help make their decision, but seat comfort and quality of flight is certainly up on the list of things that will help them make that decision. Well, in Brazil, it's different. We have a smaller market here. We're teaching people to fly. We're teaching people to fly more often. It's interesting, and I find this simply amazing. Probably 99.99% of Brazilians have never flown on a Brazilian-made airplane before. And so when you go on a flight and you introduce them for the first time and say, ladies and gentlemen, this is a Brazilian-made airplane. This plane was made It was designed. It was constructed. Everything here in Brazil, and then they applaud, they clap, and they get excited. And then we explain to them, look, there's no middle seat. Look how big these windows are. And they look around in amazement, and you can tell they're very proud. And as you walk through the cabin and you talk to customers, they say, wow, this Brazilian-made airplane is really cool. We really like this. We're going to come back and fly you again. So it's not, we are teaching them the differences between flying on a European-made airplane or an American-made airplane with a Brazilian-made airplane, and that gives us, I think, a huge edge because people want to fly Brazilian. Brazilians are very proud people, and they're very proud of their country, and it makes our job a lot easier because the product is so much better. I think the important thing is there were times at JetBlue when we pushed our load factor above 80%, where I really worried about the customers would say, wow, these planes are so full, it's so uncomfortable to be on this plane. Because when you're seated 3 and 3, you're like, oh geez, it is very, very uncomfortable, and that it was causing some, maybe hurting our brand because the planes were flying so full. On one hand, I wanted to expose as many people to the company as possible, but on the other hand, it wasn't as good of an experience. Now at Azul, this month of July, we're going to fly 85% load factor, and I absolutely have no concern about this whatsoever because for our customers, if the plane's 60% full or 85% full, there's no difference. And so certainly from someone who's running an airline, to be able to push that load factor up during peak times and know that the customer experience will be the same, even if you're flying really full, is really comforting. And to know that we can do that with this airplane, something that I worried about having a 3 and 3 configuration. The size of the airplane, our ability to have more frequency. There isn't one market where we fly that we don't have a service advantage, where we don't have either the only nonstop flight or more nonstop flights. In just a few cases, our competitors may have 2 nonstops a day, and we have 4, or we have 5. And so the economics of the airplane allow us to have more frequency. And in all the rest of our markets, we have the only nonstop service. So the only nonstop service combined with the great product that they have on board is really an unbeatable combination. And I know for sure that on the majority of our routes, we have higher RASMs than our competitors have. Now, part of that's the airplane, part of it's the service, but all of it is the airplane because we couldn't offer an increased frequency if the plane wasn't so efficient. But then when they see the interior, they go, wow, this is the frosting on the cake. I'm going to come back and fly these guys again.